Hi guys, and welcome back to ACPL Teen Summer Reading Crafts Challenges 2020. This is week number 3 and we are making gnomes. Now, everything that we're doing here today is pulled directly from a book. It's called Forest Fairy Crafts, and I will put a link to it in the description, and we do have it at the library. You can come and check it out. But these are the kits that you will be picking up, and several pages of instructions copied straight out of the book. This is why I will not be doing PDF instructions this week, because that's kind of against copyright law, so you will need to come in and pick this up yourself. But with your kit, you will have a sheet of patterns, and you will have a bag full of stuff. Most of this is felt. You will have 2 or 3 sheets, maybe 4. There will be a needle in there, and there will be a couple of colors of thread. You will also have a pair of scissors. I did provide those just because I know that these are actually sharp and will cut them. And you will have 2 gnome bodies. You will have 2 or 3 chenille stems or pipe cleaners, depending on what you call them. And you will have a head, and this is for if you feel like making a wizard at the end of this. I just think that they are really cute, so that's what we're doing. Most of this video, you will soon figure out, is in fast forward, because it's very simple, and it's mostly cutting out patterns, and that just gets boring to watch after a while. We are going to start with the gnomes, and we're going to start by making gnome capes. There are 2 different varieties of gnome cape that you can put together, and you just cut out the pattern, and then you cut the pattern out of the felt. If you really want to be neat and tidy about it, you can trace the pattern onto the felt with a Tsrp or anything else that you've got that will make a mark on felt, or pin the felt to the pattern and then cut it out. But once you've got it done, you will just basically stitch just in and out around the collar a few times, and then you will tie it around the gnome's neck, and that's pretty much it. And then you'll do the same thing for the other one. Now that you've got capes on your gnomes, we do need to make them some hats because they don't look quite right without the hat. So you want to make sure that you get the gnome hat as opposed to the fairy hat or wizard hat, whichever one it is on there, because the gnome hat is slightly smaller and it will actually fit the gnome itself. I'm cutting out 2 triangles. If you want to decorate your gnome hat by either stitching things on there with the thread you've got, or if you want to glue on anything, sequins or bells or pom-poms or anything that you've got around your house, now is the time to do it. You see that I'm putting a hat band on one of them. That's also in your pattern list, and they look really cute. But you just put them together. I did not even bother to stitch the hat band down first. I just kind of did it. But if you want to stitch anything else onto the hat, like a star, like I will be doing on the back of the wizard later, you want to do it before you stitch it together. The stitch that I'm using to hold the hats together is called a blanket stitch, and there is a link to a much better video and some text tutorials on how to do the blanket stitch that's a whole lot better than I could really explain. It just seems silly to reinvent the wheel when people have already done it way better. It's a very simple stitch, and you should be able to manage it with no real problems. once you've got your hat stitched together and popped onto your gnomes, there you go. You have successfully done week number 3 challenge, Gnomes. The other thing we have included in this kit is to make a wizard, if you so choose to. I went ahead and cut out the pattern parts off camera because it does get kind of tedious to watch this. To make the wizard's body, it will be made out of pipe cleaners, so you want to fold one of your pipe cleaners into a W with very long arms. These are the legs of your wizard. It does like to twist around itself a little bit. You may have to force it to stay in place. Once you've got your W, you take the other one, you slide it up to the middle, fold it in half, and then wrap it around the rest of the body until it's about where you think shoulder height should be, and then fold the arms, which will be the in this instance the darker of the 2 pipe cleaners, back into the body so that it will hold together. And then you've just got a very basic little body, and you can stick the head on it if you want to, but you will have to take it off. Again, I did it here in just a minute because I wanted to show you what it looked like. And now we're back to cutting out patterns again. At least I already cut out the paper. You will note that this, what's listed on here is the fairy dress. I tend to assume that wizards should be wearing robes instead of pants. If you want your wizards to be wearing pants, it's very simple. You will go ahead and cut out the dress exactly as it is, and then cut legs up the very middle after you folded it in half. Here I'm just tidying up the edge. And now I folded it in half again so that I can cut a neck hole at that corner. And now you've got a tiny hole in the middle. If you want to make pants, you just cut it up, cut some legs up, and then you'll wrap string around it to form pants. I didn't because I think wizards belong in robes, so there we go. Once you've got the dress or the pants on there, wrap it around your fairy until it looks right, and then wrap string around that to hold it down. You'll wrap it around both the waist and around the shoulders, and if you've made pants, you'll wrap it around both legs as well. From here you can go ahead and put the head on so that it looks like a fairy or a wizard instead of just some headless thing. The outer robe will not go on over the head, it will actually go on like sleeves. And to do that, we will cut out some more patterns, and then we will do some more blanket stitching up the sides. If you want to decorate this, you really need to do it before you stitch it together because it's very difficult to get in to do the sides and whatnot once it's already sewn together, because these are tiny, tiny little pieces. But to make the wizard robe, you will cut up the middle, and then it will just slide right on. Looks just like a coat. once your wizard has a coat on, the next thing it needs is a hat. So this will be, the first part of this is exactly like the gnome hats. I didn't even bother to decorate it at all. You will just blanket stitch straight up that side seam and make a cone. When you are ready to attach the brim, do trust me and do not cut the circle out of the pattern. You want to leave it as a square. This is because the hat, unless you pin it down, is going to wobble around a good bit, and if you cut the brim to be round after it's on, you can still make it pretty even all around. Otherwise it will be very wonky. So trust me on that one. You really are just setting it on in the middle of the square, holding it, and doing your best to stitch through both layers of fabric a few times. Try to keep it mostly in a circle, try to keep it even. It probably will not stay that way, don't worry about it. It will not really hurt anything in the long run. You just may have a slightly smaller hat brim than you originally thought. If that really bothers you, just cut a bigger square than it calls for to start with and see what happens. Once you've got it stitched down and you've rounded off the corner so that you've got a really cute little wizard hat, you will notice that the bottom is solid, so you will need to clip a small X in there, and it needs to be smaller than you feel like it should be. And then you just stick it on the top of your wizard's head, and voila, you have a wizard. Congratulations, thank you for being here for summer reading.